See, David, you've joined us. Welcome.
Hi, Dave. Nice.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Christine Bowles. I am the Assistant Director for the Wisconsin Space Grant Consortium and the Program Director for First Nations Launch. First Nations Launch is a part of the Artemis program, Student Challenges through NASA. And we're really excited to be here with you and discuss a little bit, talk to you about First Nations Launch. So a little bit about our organization. Kevin Crosby is the director of First Nations Launch. As I said, I'm Christine Bowles. Danielle Wayland, I always get this wrong because we talked about the German, Weiland, sorry. She's our project coordinator and just new to Space Grant, an alum coming back to work with us. We're really excited to have her working with us. Connie Yangberg is our project support assistant. Frank Noble, technical coordinator for Wisconsin EEE. Aaron Ashley, alum and project assistant, works at Raytheon. And then Mark Abatasaway, our advisor liaison, also a fellow alum. In addition, we work with Bob Justice, our Illinois EEE representative, and then we will have industry judges, and I believe we might even have a couple on the line, potential judges, and Christine Hassan from Kennedy Space Center. So that is the team that brings you this program. Next. So what is First Nations Launch? It's a competition which is offered to tribal colleges and universities. This year we opened it up to Native American serving non-tribal institutions, so that's brand new for us. And in addition, it is open to AISES chapters, and that would be collegiate chapters. And the goal is for to demonstrate engineering and design skills through direct application and high-powered rocketry. So each team is comprised of undergraduate students that will conceive, design, and fabricate a high-powered rocket. We often say it is the design, build, and fly program. We do have some restrictions, and the reason why we have some restriction is because we want you to be able to have the opportunity to create a rocket that is going to show creativity and imagination within certain parameters. And the end result is you will be participating in the largest high-powered rocket competition available in the United States that is specifically designed for Native American communities. Next. So our competition dates. Our competition will take place between April 23rd and April 25th of 2021. And that is provided that we are COVID safe and we're able to travel. And we are always keeping in mind COVID and some of the restrictions that might be on us still in April. But the current program is designed to take place over those 3 days. You will be traveling to Kenosha, Wisconsin, to Carthage College, and then we will travel out to Richard Bong Recreational Park for the actual launch. Next. So First Nations Launch is designed to accommodate 24 teams. We divide the challenges between two separate challenges. One would be the Moon Challenge and the other one would be the Mars Challenge. Each team is typically comprised of 4 to 6 team members. That doesn't mean you can't have less and you can't have more, but that is the sweet spot, the ideal number of team members to have. Each school will be required to submit a notice of intent to compete. Now a team can request to compete in both competitions, meaning Moon and Mars, but you will only be selected for one of the competitions. So if you don't care, but you have a preference, you can put that in your NOI. Otherwise, I would suggest Moon Challenge is typically for our first year teams, or those maybe teams that are comprised of students that haven't had a lot of experience in high-powered rocketry, engineering, and so the Moon Challenge is designed for schools, students, groups that want to enter in and get their feet wet. And then the Mars Challenge is our engineering challenge. The NOIs are due next Monday, October 26th. And they're fairly simple. You'll be required to list a team lead, And I just had somebody put, they didn't have that individual yet, so they put to be determined. So don't let that keep you away from the program. But a team lead, a mentor, we'll discuss that a little bit farther on in the presentation. And you know, if you've had rocketry experience, et cetera, it's a fairly simple application. And then the proposals and the preliminary budgets are going to be due November 23rd. And between when you're accepted and the 23rd, we actually will have a telecon that will go over that process of developing proposals and preliminary budgets. Next. So what do we supply? One of the great things about First Nations Launch is we provide a lot for your team. So we give each team $4,000, and that is, it's reimbursable. And so you can spend those funds on any of the materials and supplies that you need, services, for example, RockSim, and travel. So you have $4,000. We also provide hotel accommodations for your team. So that would be 3 rooms, so an advisor and 2 for students, for 3 nights at a particular hotel that we have a booking with. And then we have select meals that we provide. So Friday breakfast, lunch, Saturday lunch and dinner, and then of course your hotel will have breakfast. We provide you a low-powered rocket that you can go out and do a demo flight on. For new schools that are participating for the first time, we provide 2 rocketry reference books. One is called Modern Rocket Design and Construction, and the other Modern High-Powered Rocketry 2. Both great books that give you lots of information and resources. So I think they will be a great asset to any team. We also will provide ejection charges at the competition, motors, the casings, same thing at the competition. If we end up going virtual for any reason, we will be working with EEE members throughout the country to be able to make sure that you have those items at a launch in your area. As far as reporting, you guys will be submitting various reports through the design review process. And so our team is going to give you report feedback 1 week prior to the next report being due. Lastly, we have the option of rocketry workshops, which will help schools, teams, individuals earn their level 1 certification. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the presentation and what's required to be able to participate in that. Next. Which is next, Launch to Learn workshop. Who is taking that? Is that you, Erin? Sorry.
Mark.
Mark?
Go ahead, Chris.
You want me to take it? So,
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Launch to Learn. This is the program that one of those just what I would call the diamonds that we have. We have an introductory rocket workshop that we host as part of our program. And so this year, due to COVID, we are offering a rocket workshop either at Carthage College, at your institution, or virtually. And so new schools are always our priority because we want to help you to learn how to be a part of this competition and how to design, build, fly a rocket. And so if you are interested as a team in being of having a workshop or participating in a workshop, that information, your request is due with your NOI, so we can plan accordingly. And then you would also need to let us know if you would want to have if you would want to travel to Carthage, if you want it at your institution, or you'd like to try and do a virtual. It's brand new for us. We haven't done virtual, but we're willing to give it a try. As you can see in this slide, if you come to Carthage, 3 individuals per school are eligible to participate, and that typically is the advisor and 2 students. We provide your travel, your lodging, and your workshop meals, but your dinners will be on your own. You will receive a rocket kit, motor, and your level 1 certification for the first year. Veteran teams may attend the workshop. If they do decide to participate, it is a $200 registration fee, and the maximum number of individuals we can host would be 30 participants. Now, if you want to have a rocket workshop at your institution, then faculty member can attend, mentors, team members. The workshop snacks and meals are provided at FNL at the FNL sponsored workshops. A per diem is required for our admin team from your school if we travel to you, and so that's one of the costs that are associated with at your institution. The rocket kits are supplied, and so are the motor and the level 1 certification. For the virtual component, what we're looking at is 3 individuals per school. So again, 1 advisor, 2 students, would be sponsored by WSGC at a maximum of 30 participants. We would ship the rocket kit and supplies to the individuals, and then we would work with EEE folks around the country to supply your motor and your level 1 certification. Next.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
For the virtual component, if we want to do that rocket workshop, is there a charge if we go above the 2 students?
So yes. So, and who, may I ask who's asking?
Oh, Andrea from UC Davis.
Okay, perfect. So yes, so above the 3 would be a $200 charge.
Okay.
Okay.
Per individual student, correct?
Per individual, correct. And so then also on rocket certification, only 1 individual may work on a rocket for certification. So you can't have 5 people working on 1 rocket and then 1 person gets certified on that. They can watch. Okay, just to make sure that you knew that. Go ahead, next slide. And then I think, is it Frank?
Yeah, it's me.
Aaron? Okay.
Me, Frank. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this conference. The Moon Challenge for the FNL. Teams are required to design and construct a warning sensor system, in other words, a flight recorder, mounted inside the high-powered rocket. The rocket shall reach an apogee of approximately 3,500 to 4,000 feet AGL. The warning sensor system will be designed to record 2 flight events aboard the rocket during its ascent, including 1 nominal separation event and 1 airframe anomaly. Both the events must be recorded on the flight recorder system, and video should be showing at least 1 event, which is required. Next slide. The Mars Engineering Challenge, teams are required to design and construct 2 trackable space debris objects stowed inside the high-power rocket. The rocket shall reach an apogee of 3,500 to 4,000 feet AGL. The debris will be deployed at drogue or main chute ejection flight profile. The debris will be designed to descend under their own recovery system and have a total weight not to exceed 32 ounces or 907 grams. The telemetry system is required to demonstrate that the debris can be tracked from the ground. Next slide, please. You can see the flight profile of the FNL Challenge. We'll go with the Moon Challenge first, which you can see is marked at apogee with the drogue chute, and the exclamations are have arrows pointing to exclamations indicating a normal operation, which is at separation at apogee. And an example at the top of that rocket has a hatch open, which is an anomaly and should be recorded on the flight recorder. To the lower right, you can see the rocket descending. That is the Mars Challenge. You can see the little parachute transmitting debris objects floating down. That should be deployed either at apogee or during the descent of the main or before 300 feet. But that's it for the flight profile. Do we have any questions on this competition area? at all? Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm Aaron Ashley. As Chris introduced, I'm a systems engineer at Raytheon, and I'm Omaha and Dakota Sioux, currently in Tucson, Arizona. And a summary of the competition, we have teams do, you guys will put together design reviews, written reports, and then a few oral ones. It'll be a Zoom call like this that will judge, give you feedback on to help you improve for the next one. They'll be about once every other month. And then launch weekend, oral presentations, it could be virtual, or if it ends up happening in person, it'll be either way. And then the actual flight of your rocket and how well your payload performs per the challenge requirements. And then there'll be a score chart on the next slide, but bonus points are possible if you do kind of outreach efforts with local students or native students, if you find that kind of opportunity. And then one thing we'll also judge you on is how neat you put together your electronics, and that'll be at launch weekend. That won't come to the last phase of the program. So this is the breakdown of the scoring. You guys submit your proposals. If you submit proposals next month, that's the start of the program, and it goes all the way until the post-launch assessment review report that you submit after launch weekend. And then these are how we break that down. And then flight performance, we have that come up as 20% of your total. And then at the bottom, late submissions, that's how we treat them. So just try not to be late on those. Are there any questions about the scoring of them? This is just to give you an idea. I'm sure you'll have more questions later in the coming months. Right. So the design reports, just to give you an idea of why we do them, there's a couple reasons. It's to help you guys to communicate the engineering and what kind of effort you put into it, designing, simulation, and then effectively telling what you did, and then putting together your charts from the simulation and how high you think the rocket will go, and charts like that, and then compare it to what happens on launch day. And then since a lot of this will be virtual pictures of what you're building for design and construction, so our industry judges on our end can effectively give you feedback. And then Microsoft Word requirements, we use that a lot in my day job, at least. I know I use that a lot. And then if you have these slides, there's some links. You could find the calendar and then the templates and scoring rubrics for the design reports. Any follow-ups on this? All right, I will pass it on.
Excellent. So the timetable, the kickoff for the program will begin on November 3rd. And one of the things that you'll see in this timetable is that we have scheduled several webinars, and part of that is just our endeavor to make the process very user-friendly, but also helping teams in the midst of knowing, we know that COVID is causing many of us to be separated as we are limited to being at home or limited at labs at school. So some of the webinars that we have added this year, making it available to the student teams, would be proposal and budget development, project management. We'll have a webinar a couple weeks before each one of the design review reports are due. We'll have one on avionics and rock sim, altimeters, the recovery system, the structures. So you really are going to have some subject matter experts, some folks that know a lot about these areas, giving talks to be able to assist you throughout the year. We have advisor meeting Telecon, so that we try to tag up about twice a year, so that advisors have the ability just to ask questions, or figure out how we can help in any way, or share some of their successes. So we do have a couple of those meetings scheduled. And then you see some of the other items that are due, such as needing official team rosters. So February 18th is when we need to know your final roster of who is going to be part of the official team, and then eligible to receive awards, eligible to travel if we're traveling to Carthage. So we'll need that by mid-February. Connie Ingberg, she's the individual that you will be submitting your reimbursements to. We have typically scheduled 2 reimbursement dates, so that we have that all taken care of kind of in one fell swoop for our office. So one is in March, and the other one would be in May. So I think that kind of goes over the full timetable. If we're allowed to travel, one of the things that we will schedule in the summer would be our VIP tour for the winning team at Kennedy Space Center. Next slide. So what are some of the key changes? As I know some of you are on for the first time, some of you are some of our seasoned teams. So we are officially a NASA Artemis Student Challenge. That is exciting news for us, and we are excited. So we have funding for the next 4 years, and we are more than elated. Launch to Learn workshop. So adding that virtual component and giving options to the teams versus just hosting it at Carthage College. That's new for us. We've added in the design review webinars to be held just before each of those due dates. We have the engineering webinars, so really trying to take you through logically through a progression of what you'll need, as I stated before what those were. We have new appendices provided for you in the competition handbook, so really taking step by step what you need to do, and so you have all the tools in your toolbox to be able to be successful. One of the requirements this year is that you must have a TRA or NAR, so Tripoli Rocketry Association or National Association of Rocketry mentor. And I know that we've been working with Frank, and he just gave me notification this afternoon that a list of mentors is going to be available for Tripoli. Mark Abatosaway is willing to assist you as well to try and help you get connected to a local mentor. But due to safety parameters and logistics, we just really know that it's going to be important for each of your teams to have a mentor that can answer your questions and be more logistically close to you, especially if we have to go to a virtual launch, where you guys have to launch locally because of COVID. Lastly, RockSim. We've often left it open between Open Rocket and RockSim. This year, due to the funding increase up to $4,000, RockSim will be required to, as the platform to submit all your flight profiles. Next. And so RockSim, just so you know, students can get a student subscription for $25, which will last from August to basically September 1 till August every year. Our COVID-19 safety plan. So really first we look at it as looking at your teams and what are we doing to help you. So number one is we are monitoring along with NASA COVID, and we want as an organization and for you as well to follow the guidelines from the federal, state, and community officials regarding our competition, but also what you're doing locally. So we're here to protect health and safety of every team member, of our staff, of the judges, and that is our primary priority. So challenge managers, which myself, Connie, Danielle, Aaron, Mark will be in contact with you on specifics to the challenges if anything needs to change due to COVID. Next slide. What are we doing? So we have a launch site protocol. When teams are, if we end up if everybody's able to travel to Kenosha in April at our launch site, every individual will be required to wear a mask. We will be taking temperatures of every individual that moves from what we call the pit area over to the launch site. We require social distancing, so lots of steps are being taken. EEE will also require a COVID-19 waiver to be signed upon for entry to the launch as well. Carthage College, we have a protocol. It's called Stay Safe, and so any activities that take place at Carthage College will follow those protocols. So no more than 50 people in a room. We'll have 6 feet apart. We would have our sanitation stations, masks available, etc. So we are really working hard to make sure that you are safe. And then of course the virtual, the hybrid, and the in-person planning as needed. And so we are being very flexible with the program this year so that we can accommodate schools where they're at and where we're at as a nation. Next slide. Mark?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Hey, it's Mark Abatosway. So just a little history or new for this year. I'm going to be playing a role of advisor to, I want to say Eliason, because that's how we say it at the Boeing company. So we'll have an advisor handbook, and we're going to give the advisors a little more support this year. So we're going to have an advisor handbook coming out, kind of geared specifically for the new advisors. I know there's a lot of returning advisors on the call. We might need your input and feedback on that. We'll focus a little bit more on retention, maintaining your teams from year to year. So just addressing the issues where, sometimes a lot of the teams fall off after a couple of good years, or they don't have, they lack resources, or the students aren't interested, or things like that. So we'll try and address those more in the upcoming years. We might look at advisor mentorship. So we're looking at ideas of pairing up new advisors who come on with veteran advisors to help them out, and to even the playing field a little bit, make it easier for new teams to get in. We'll also help with outreach efforts. So just give you ideas and share ideas of how to do outreach in your community with the high school students or a local tribe. And then next step opportunities. I'll let Chris talk about. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Chris.
Sure. So part of what we're hoping to do is First Nations Launch is a great program, and we're hoping that by participating in our program, that student teams will be equipped to participate in other programs. So a couple of things that we provide is we do select one team to participate in the Colorado Space Grant Consortium and Virginia Space Grant Consortium program called Rock On, which takes place at Wallops Flight Facility, a NASA center in Virginia. And so we choose a team to be able to go to that program, and they learn how to create a payload to go on a suborbital rocket. So that's one opportunity. Another opportunity is the team is selected to participate the following year in the student launch program, which it takes place down at Marshall Space Flight Center. And so those are two opportunities. But also we want to provide information that connects and links teams to other Artemis Student challenges, like the Rover Challenge, Lunabotics, a Big Idea Challenge, and some of those other programs. And so that's one of the areas that Mark is going to be working with teams on. Next slide. So tools and tips. We have a page on our website. It's called Tools and Tips. And on there, you'll find, items such as award acceptance agreements, media release forms, competition handbook, expense reimbursement forms, your travel expense reports. So just about any resource that you're looking for, we try to have in that section. So that will be an area of the website that you just really want to get to know and make that your go-to place if you just decide to participate and be a part of the competition this year. Next slide. Safety first. This was, so each member of our team is level 1 certified. And so 2 weekends ago, we were out at Richard Bong Recreational Park where our launch takes place, and going through the process of what does it look like to participate in the launch in 2021. So with that being said, do we have any questions or comments that we can respond to?
It's Melanie from Canada. I know we're in a totally unique situation, so I won't toss it to the group, but I'm suspecting we won't be able to travel to the US in April. If the border's not still closed, I'm anticipating the university wouldn't allow travel of the students.
And so one of the things that we'll want to do is work with you guys to identify a local EEE or NAR chapter that can host a launch in Canada. So that's one of the things that we'll strive to do with you.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. And that really is the case with each team. You know, so I see Fond du Lac on the call. So one of the things that we would try to work with is, you know, if travel seems to be an issue, we try to work with, you know, the Minnesota EEE, and I think that's Gary Stroyuk, and see if we can coordinate a time that you guys would be able to launch your rocket within a certain time frame, and meet the parameters of our rocket launch, but do it within your local area. Welcome, Jennifer. I see you on the call as well. I know Jennifer just submitted her NOI, so we're excited to have CMN, College of Menominee Nation, back in the program. Any other questions? Hi, Jennifer.
Strange one. I doubt very much I'll be able to put a team together for this year, but some of those, what did you call them? You had a name for the sessions that you're going to talk about.
Sure, the webinars. Yep.
Yeah. Is there any way, like students of mine could maybe watch a recording of those webinars in the future, you know, and learn something?
Absolutely. So we do right now have 2 of those webinars on our the tools and tips page, Steve, from last year. One on project management. I believe one on, I think it's RockSim, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So those are a couple over. So are you indicating that you don't think you guys are going to be able to participate this year?
It looks pretty doubtful.
Okay. And due to COVID, I'm assuming, correct?
And just not that many students that I have, you know, raring to go.
Well, I mean, if it's a possibility, maybe that's a conversation to have with Mark. I mean, that's part of why Mark went into a new role in trying to help teams. And, you know, being that an individual that could even, you know, jump on a Zoom call and try to encourage, inspire, or talk to students about the program so that they would want to participate if COVID isn't the issue. So please feel free to reach out to Mark. He's more than willing to assist teams. Any other questions? Yep, and who's speaking?
Andrea from UC Davis.
Yes.
Hi, is there so I know we talked about how there was like 5 to 6 students recommended, right, per team. Is there a restriction on those students? Like, do they have to be from registered tribes or anything like that?
No, there isn't. So we request that you do have, so UC Davis is a, I'm just trying to remember. It is a non-tribal serving institution, I believe. Am I correct? Or do you guys have an AISES chapter? I'm trying to remember.
So
have
we do have an AISES chapter. I'm actually the vice president of our AISES chapter.
Okay.
Whether, I'm not sure what you mean by like serving, like, I mean, we
So
have.
it's a different, it's a federal legal term for certain institutions. So one of our colleges, Fort Lewis College, is identified by the government as a Native American serving non-tribal institution. So that's what I was just trying to remember, which classification. So you guys have an AISES chapter. You are the vice president of the AISES chapter. So the requirement is, I encourage, you have to have at least one AISES member on your team. We encourage as many as possible. We have non-natives that participate on teams, as well as natives.
Okay. Well, I was just kind of asking more like specifically, because this is going to be done mostly by our AISES members. But
Awesome.
I mean, but even being in AISES, like we didn't, not all our members, while they are all native and indigenous, not all of them are from recognized legal tribe.
Yep. Nope, that's fine. If you're an if they're part
Okay,
of your
sorry, I was
AISES
just
group,
making sure
nope.
we're getting everything
No,
right.
it's a question that's been asked before, and so no, I appreciate the question. You are, yeah, they're AISES members. They're good to go.
Okay, thank you so much.
You are welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, Chris, so this is Scott. So the University of Washington, actually Mark's approached us a few times to see if we'd be interested in doing something, but we never were able to get the interest. And I just see a challenge, maybe this is what Stefan was saying too, trying to get one started virtually. If this was in person, we probably get things going, but virtually, I'm not sure how well we can do to get a new group going this year. But I think with the help of, I mentioned Professor Wingley was willing to help us out. That
Yeah,
I think we at least submit a NOI, but if we eventually get a team together, that'd be another thing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm encouraging teams to do. If you even have an inkling, I would highly encourage you to submit the NOI, right? Submit the NOI, and then even in that NOI, there's a place for a paragraph to provide some information. State, you know what? I don't have any team members right now, but I'm hopeful. We're meeting virtually as a campus, so I know this is going to be a challenge. I know Danielle right now for our state programs, when she can, she may be actually physically going to a classroom. However, she's doing Zoom meetings with classes, and she's willing to go in and say, this is a little bit about the program. This is why it's a great program, and this is how you could do it virtually. Mark would be able to do that. I can do that. Any of our team members would be able to do that for you. So that may be one idea for any of you, is to invite us in for 5 minutes and let us kind of give a quick spiel of what FNL is about. We do have videos on our website. So there's a 1-minute video that's real short, quick, sweet, but there's also another one that's about 8 minutes long that is much more detailed. And the chief launch engineer from Kennedy Space Center is Indigenous and Native American, and he's been with us since the very beginning, and he gives, I think, a quite compelling story of why this is important to the Native American community and participating in it. So I don't know if that helps, Scott, but we're really here to help any of you and all of you in any way we can, to help you inspire students. And some of the things that we're considering is how do you create a team when you aren't meeting in a classroom? And so some of the things that we've discussed is, Zoom meetings like we're doing now, having a virtual logbook so that they can, at some campuses, they are allowing students to go into the labs, but only one student at a time, or 2 students. and then you still have to be socially distanced. So if you have a virtual logbook, you could actually write down what you're doing. So that could be a possibility. But really, you know, Erin, do you want to throw back to the timetable slide, please? So the way we kind of gear the program, critical design report. So if you look at about February 15th, no, sorry, where is it? March 1st. So up until March 1st, most of what the team is doing is all planning, right? So it is the going through selecting your rocket, the kit, not buying anything, but you know, putting all that information into, thanks Mason, putting everything into RockSim, running your simulations to see if it's going to work, and then starting to make those purchases in February and March. So hopefully, I mean, we're still talking another 6 months. Hopefully within that time frame, we'll be able to start gathering in groups again. So that's our hope, and one of the ways that I think you can sell the program is that up until that point, a lot of collaborating can happen virtually. I don't know, Erin or Mark, do you guys want to, or Frank, anybody want to add anything to that? No. Did that answer your question, Scott?
Yeah, and other concern is that our campus, University of Washington president did kind of virtually basically announce that we're probably going to be online winter quarter as well. So I don't see us coming together and having the campus open for us to gather and do these kind of things. So being able to do it virtually, or however we have to do, if even lab space is going to be open for us to utilize, be another challenge. And I wonder how that may put some teams at a disadvantage where another state, yeah, our labs are open, come on in. And
yeah, and again, it's a challenge. There are many new challenges, but I think if I were to, what I keep hearing from many advisors, faculty members, even students, is the students are longing for activities to participate in, because so much is being, you know, I'm going to say stripped away or not available at this time due to some of the, you know, concerns and restrictions. So I think, again, I had one team last year for our statewide competition in Wisconsin, where the team separated different components of the rocket and said, okay, you know, you're going to work on, you know, the airframe, you're going to work on the nose cone area or recovery system, and you might be working on the payload, something of that nature. And I might not have it exactly right, but they kind of split the responsibilities, and each one of the team members did it individually. However, they were still collaborating through Zoom. So again, you know, I throw out ideas and let you folks who are in the classroom on a day-to-day basis and working with your students see if that's something that might work. But if there's any way for them to be able to do it, you know, we strongly encourage it, and we want to try to be that possibility. And if it ends up meaning, you know, for your school, that you might not be able to get to the launch pad, but you can go through the whole design and development and doing all that research component, we'll still consider that a participation for the year, if that makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense to me. And I think, as I said, we'll probably be able to submit at least the NOI, because our chapter president, Chase Nakoba, sounded really excited about it as far as it being a recruitment for our chapter. It's like, you know, because a lot of our AISES members graduated, and so he's like, gee, I'm the only person left. Yep. I'm going to get more of our native students here at the UW to get involved. So,
and I think that's great, Scott, because, and we've seen that over the years where, you know, AISES chapters that are maybe struggling, or, you know, a big turnover, they have used First Nations launch as an impetus to regrow the group.
Jennifer Morris brought up a good point in that you do need to have one student who would be considered the team lead who needs to register before an advisor can submit an NOI, just for a heads up.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And Connie, I guess, does that one student have to be the AISES member too?
No, they do not. You know, we encourage you to pick the team lead that you know will make sure all of the paperwork is submitted on time, and that can kind of bring the whole group together. We do have a section on, I'm just trying to think, team structure that we, kind of a segment that we go over in our rocket workshop, but that is something that we could make available if that would help, to be able to send out to a student that you're interested in having lead the team.
I guess one other point that I want to note, you do have November 3rd as a kickoff, and there could be people standing in line waiting to vote, since that is election day.
Oh, that's funny. We really missed that, didn't we? Okay, good note. Good note to make. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to put my input on what Christine mentioned about doing the Zoom meetings on a one-to-one team achievement on constructing the rocket. It'd be a great achievement if, you know, teams could get together, because right now, what do we got, 5 or 6 teams on, 7 teams?
Yep.
If it'd be a great achievement if they could work in unison like that on Zoom on constructing a rocket, actually even building the rocket, going through the webinars and the judging. That'd be great. That'd be a great achievement just in itself during this time. I don't know what you think, Christine.
You know, I often say it's how you get through the challenges that makes us a better person. And so, you know, I think the students that are in college right now and having to, you know, go through classes, go through programs, you know, build their resumes, etc. And as they are facing these challenges and succeeding through it, they're going to be one of the strongest generations that we've had because of some of the adversity that they've had to overcome. So I'm here to, you know, cheer them on to their successes. So is UC Davis still on the line?
Yeah, I'm still here.
So are there any challenges that you guys are facing that we can help you guys with?
No, I don't think so much. We do have a pretty strong chapter. At least I know 2 to 3 other students will definitely be interested in this.
Okay.
While our campus is also not open. I mean, they can't really, so we've been meeting virtually already. We already had a couple of meetings virtually.
Excellent.
So I guess just the game plan here would be kind of see if we can think of ways to break different segments, you know, maybe some students are more interested in a certain part than others. I think
Sure.
that'd definitely be the biggest challenge.
So what
they
we'll
are
do
opening a few parts on campus, so very selective. So maybe I can get in this, talk to somebody at the school to see if maybe allow 1 or 2 people at a time together in certain labs or something.
And one of the things that I would encourage anybody from any state to do is talk to, if you know, Space Grant is a great network, and if you need us to, we're happy to get you connected to your local Space Grant. And sometimes they have an institutional representative at your campus that also can be of assistance and help you. So if you, that might be something you look into as well, is who is that individual and can they help in any way?
Who is that again? Sorry, couldn't really hear.
So the National Space Grant Foundation, Danielle, can you look on your computer and get the link to the national website and then put it in the chat for me, please? So you have California Space Grant Consortium. I'm not sure which campus they're at, but they may have a representative at UC Davis that they'd be willing to help help you guys in any way they can. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah. David, I see you on. Are you still on? How are you guys doing down in Haskell? Is there anything we can do to help you guys? Because I think you were all virtual for a while as well.
Yeah, we'll be virtual for the entire year. As of right now, I sort of I have to gauge interest to see if we have a team or not.
Okay.
So there hasn't been a lot of communication from a potential team yet. So that's what I'm trying to do now, is just to find out whether we have enough student interest.
Okay. Okay. Well, if there's anything again that we can do, let us know. And I thought I remembered Lucas saying that you guys were virtual for the entire year. Is that the entire Kansas City area is virtual, or just you folks?
That was a Haskell decision.
Okay, got it. On a side note, David, I don't know if Connie and you have connected, but if you have not, offline, you guys need to connect. I think there's some follow-up from last year, if I'm not mistaken. That hasn't been resolved. All in a positive. I'm trying to help you on something. Okay, so that's good feedback. So, again, I encourage you, if at all, if you think that you're going to have interest, please submit the NOI, write what the challenges are, and we'll do what we can to assist you. Jennifer, you doing okay up in your area?
We are. We're also closed for the rest of the semester. We're virtual.
Okay.
Quite honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat I'm always in. I usually don't have any students yet in the fall. I kind of have to wait to see who comes back in the spring. So I guess in a weird way, I'm lucky because I'm used to these issues.
Okay. So if there's anything we can do to help, let us know. I know one of the things that we'd love to do is even see if we can get a triple E mentor that's closer to you guys, that might be able to be, a good resource for you as well as Frank. So that's something that we're looking at, and we'll be reaching out to you about.
Okay.
Okay. And like I said, if there's anything we can do, let us know. And how far is UW Green Bay away from you guys?
About an hour and a half.
Okay, so it's a little bit further, because that's always an opportunity too with some of the schools, is combining efforts with another college next to you and kind of having a dual team where you can work together and have team members from both locations. So that could be an option as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Danielle, for, John Kosmatka is the director for the California Space Grant. And then Becky Howard is my colleague, a counterpart. So I think I hit everybody on the call. If there aren't any more questions, then
Everyone could put their school or company in the chat. We would appreciate that.
I threw a question in the chat because I do have to jump off right now, but I will maybe talk to you guys about that afterwards. Just bringing in like individual kids from other schools in Canada to sort of learn with us this year. Anyway, I don't know if that's a possibility, but
sure,
I do have to go to another meeting.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yep. Follow up with us. That's fine.
Okay. Thanks,
Sure.
everyone.
Yep. Thanks for joining with us, Genevieve and Orson and I think it was Nilaya.
Sorry, quick question. Do you guys have videos on explaining the challenge a little bit more in depth?
We do not have videos on explaining the challenge more in depth. However, if you need, well, we have the competition handbook. Have you looked at that?
No, I have not. I actually just learned about this a couple days ago.
Yeah. So again, Danielle, you want to put the link to the competition handbook in the chat? I think that will be helpful. Thank you. And even the link to the video, that would be helpful too for some teams. But really encourage you to go to the website, explore the competition handbook. We'll have just about every piece of information that you could imagine and lots of details, from the recovery requirements to the vehicle requirements, to the payload requirements. It's all there.
And if you need more technical advice or instructions of the competition, it's Frank, Aaron, or Mark.
So
Yep.
I just had one question. Then I got the
Sure.
impression from your moon challenge that we're supposed to